Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and yesterday I accidentally wandered into a used bookstore. What can you do? So I have 10 books that I got. A couple of them were pre-ordered and a couple of them were from a free free library every time. This is Janet Frame's The Envoy from Mirror City. I want to say she was autistic, but she was misdiagnosed as schizophrenic for like 20 years, and she was institutionalized, and it was a whole fiasco. And so she's got at least two other ones before this. I don't know why somebody has a sticky note in here. But this is her third book, and it's described as one of the greatest autobiographies written this century, meaning, of course, the last century. Oh well. Describes her travels overseas and entry into the saving world of writers and the mere city that sustains them. So, yeah, she's New Zealand's best-known living writer. She's written quite a bit, and I've never read her, so I will do that. This book I also haven't read. This is Sandra Cisneros. Sandra Cisneros? The House on Mango Street. I've heard of this book. It's a very well-known book. It's like a modern classic, sort of, now. When was it written? In the, 80s or 90s or something? 84. It's taught from grade schools to universities, all across the country, translated all over the world. Series of vignettes, sometimes heartbreaking, sometimes deeply joyous. It is a story of a young Latina girl growing up in Chicago, inventing for herself who and what she will become. Now, I'm admittedly a little tired of coming-of-age stories. It's not where I'm at in my life anymore. Hasn't been for some time now. But because this one's so well-known, I thought, I'll give it a go. Then I got Alberto Manguel's Into the Looking Glass Wood, Essays on Books, Reading, and the World. I read so many books of his when I was in university, and I haven't read any since. Why? I don't know. But we'll fix that. He writes a lot about books, which, books about books. Sure, I can get into that. This is Italo Calvino's Difficult Loves. I think it's a book of short stories. 9 adventures and 2 longer tales. Achieves that almost miraculous balance between the obvious and then just the indescribable, the real and the imaginary, the familiar and the fabulous. He transforms the lives of ordinary people into brilliant explorations of intricate interior worlds. I read If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler this year and loved it so much. It's incredible. It's one of those times where you read a book and think, you could do that with a book. And he did. And it was amazing. And I don't know if this will be as sort of experimental and edgy, but I'll give it a go. I liked his writing. Then I got a couple of books about the Brontës because I love them. And I'm reading the Cambridge Companion to the Brontës right now. And we just had Goth Lit November, and I reread Wuthering Heights. And I've read both of these books before, but so many years ago, like 20 years ago, probably. So I can't remember everything. This is Charlotte Brontë, A Passionate Life by Lyndall Gordon. They both have like 4.5 star ratings on Goodreads or something. They're really phenomenal biographies. He dismantles the insistent image of Charlotte Brontë as the modest Victorian lady, the slave to duty, in the shadow of tombstones, revealing instead a strong and fiery woman who shaped her own life and transformed it into art. I love Charlotte Brontë. This is massive. It's like, ooh, it's a brick. Look at this thing. As big as my head, bigger than my head. This is The Brontës by Juliet Barker. I've definitely read this before, but it was prior to when I was on Goodreads, so I don't have it on there. That's just a blurb on the back. That's not very exciting. It is, let's say, comprehensive, because it's, how many pages is this? Gotta be well over 1,000. Oh, there's lots of notes in the back too. One moment. 830. Okay, with the notes, it's over 1,000, but 830 is how many pages, and it's got a lot of black and white, like photo pages. It's hard to maneuver a book this big and heavy. Anyway, I love the story of their lives and the imaginary worlds they created when they were kids, and the way they interacted with each other within these imaginary worlds. They printed their own little tiny books. By printed, I mean like hand sewed out of scrap paper and wrote in really tiny font. And then wrote just incredible stories at a time when women in publishing was not so common. I mean, it wasn't impossible, but it wasn't especially common. And they generally only wrote certain socially acceptable types of books. And not everything the Brontës wrote was socially acceptable at the time, which of course is part of why I love it. So yeah, this book is amazing. Also, I love this picture, this painting on the front. It is, can I find information about it real quick? I see it everywhere. No, I don't see it. I mean, that was weird. Anyway, I can't find information about it, but yeah, those ones. And then, okay, in a little free library I found. Now, the odds of my ever learning Russian in my life are minuscule to not gonna happen. Like, it's really unlikely. But this book is so cool. This is Fathers and Sons by Ivan Turgenev. And I only know this because I Google translated the front page. And that's what it said it was. But look at that, like, I love this. This was published in the, I want to say the 80s. Nope, 91. Published in 91. Looks like it was published in Russia. Yeah, in Moscow. Why a couple of the pages have, oh, here's an English plate. But why it's like that, I don't know. Because everything else is in, like, all the publisher notes and everything on the back page are in Russian. But it's just, I love it. It's so cool. And I'm a dork. Okay. This one I actually will read sometime. This is Balzac's Père. Goriot? I'm really bad at French R's. I gotta work on that. Not that I'm good at any other French letters, but those ones I'm particularly bad at. This one, I don't actually know what it's about, but it's nice and little. So once I finish, oh, it's got folded over pages. I'm gonna fix that, and I'm gonna tape up the spine here. This is actually really quite old now. It is published, I think, in the 30s. If I was a date, I found it before. Yeah, 1934 is when this little one was published. So I've got to tape up the side here. I've got to dog ear some of the pages, like it's got this going on here. But I'll fix that up. And then this came too late for Gothic November this year, but hey, maybe next year or whatever. The Haunted Wilderness, the Gothic and Grotesque in Canadian Fiction by Margot Northey. This is published by the University of Toronto Press, I think. Yeah. And so it goes through early Gothic, Canadian prototypes, different sort of takes on Gothic in the 19th century and then the 20th century. Yeah, I don't know. Psychological Gothic, sociological Gothic, satiric, grotesque. I don't know. It's got italicized names after it. I don't know if that's like the subtitle or if those are book titles. I don't recognize any of them. Wild Geese Unsurfacing. Yeah, those seem to be the titles. So Margaret Atwood's Surfacing. I've never read that. Anyway, it's pretty little, but it wasn't cheap for being so little. But it's Canadian Gothic, so how can I not? And then the last one I got was After the People Lights Have Gone Off by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a collection of short stories. I've heard the last one is quite violent, so it might be a bit much for me. I mean, quite a few of them might be a bit much for me, but they're short stories, so if I don't get on with one, I'll just skip to the next one and give it a go. I'm just sort of dipping my toes into horror, and I don't know, it might be a bit much, but I'll try. We'll see. I make no guarantees. And those are the books I got in December prior to Christmas. We'll see about after Christmas. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.